We recently came through the holidays. Has anyone been uninvited to a family gathering? We have. Well, spring is coming. Maybe you have a wedding on the calendar. So we flip the script today and talk about your special events, birthday celebrations, weddings, family reunions. And we ask the questions, are there people you have to invite? How do we handle that? And how do we balance it all with self-care?
Would it be okay if I were to tell you that I am afraid someday? So I call you up and you call me down. Would it be okay?
Well, hello and welcome to the FreedHearts podcast. My name is Robert Cottrell and I'm here as always with
Susan Cottrell.
Hi.
Hi.
Hi, everyone. Welcome. Connect with us. I want to talk specifically, before we get going, about your counseling, your life coaching sessions. You do that on a very limited basis just because of your time for individuals, couples, all kinds of reasons. Sometimes they're a few. Sometimes it's just a one-off. A lot of times it's just a one-off.
Yes.
Because they have an issue that they're dealing with and you address it and it's wonderful.
It usually is, yeah.
Yeah. There is a cost for that, but beloved, if don't let finances get in the way. If you need a session with Susan and finances are an issue, please just reach out to us and we'll work something out. We'll figure something out. So you can connect with us at podcast@freedhearts.org, or there's a link on the website as well. Yeah?
Yep.
Speaking of needing counseling, we came through the holidays recently. We came through the holidays recently, and have you ever been uninvited to a family gathering? Yeah, we have, and we certainly imagine that you have been as well at some point in some way. So today we're going to flip the script, turn over the tables, and talk about your special events. Things like birthday celebration. I mean, spring is in the air. This could be weddings coming up. You don't know. So the question is, can you uninvite family members? No, I mean, not in a vengeful spirit. That's probably not good for our hearts, but with the commitment of self-care, peace, mental health, happiness, can you uninvite someone?
Yeah, and how do you know if that's the right thing for you? I had a wonderful conversation with someone who's recently been really going through it about her family. Her family, quote, loves her, but can't support her in her upcoming wedding. And we had a rich conversation. It was a session, coaching. And I thought of you. I always do. And so with her permission, I'm going to share some of the things we talked about and hope it gives life to you too.
Yeah, I mean, I guess the real question in all of this comes down to, I mean, it's mom and grandma.
Yeah.
And, you know, are there people that we have to invite? We just have to invite to certain things. And how do we balance all of this with self-care?
Yeah, and self-preservation.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I think after your session, by the way, I think she also emailed you back and forth, right? You had like an email thread?
We did.
Yeah, so this is part of all of that, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So this woman's, I'll call her Zoe. She said, the initial email said, I'm 36. I'm just about to marry my beautiful fiance. I grew up evangelical, Southern, Black, Baptist. My mom is saying she won't attend the ceremony, but will come to everything else, which doesn't make sense. And my sister, a bridesmaid, is diving more into her spiritual journey and doesn't believe God designed same-sex marriages. She said she doesn't feel right about it, but still plans to be in our wedding to support me. I'm now conflicted if I shouldn't have her in it when I have other people who would love to be part of the celebration and actually support and love both of us. She told me we can agree to disagree. She hopes I can respect her morals and beliefs. Zoe said, I'm mentally and emotionally exhausted from trying to navigate their feelings. I don't have the energy to go down the theological rabbit hole. I've offered resources and your books, but it's never come up again. I'm seeking words of wisdom here. Any advice to my word salad would be appreciated. Now, just pause for a moment. Check in with your body and see how this feels to you. What words would you give Zoe? And you may know already exactly what you would say. I'm sure many of you have been in this position or are in this position, the one in getting married and not having the wholehearted support of those that you love. And you may be a family member, a parent, and you're conflicted. As you listen here, think what you would do. I told her, I get the exhaustion. I'm exhausted too by people feeling they're supposed to use God as a pass to do whatever they want. That's exhausting. So we had a nice long conversation, and I wanted to help her see what she wanted, not what they would deign to give her, but what did she really want? So I said, close your eyes, and you can do this for whatever situation you're in. Close your eyes and picture them at the wedding. How do you feel? Are you glad they're there? Does it feel right? She said, I feel anxious. I said, okay, now close your eyes and picture them not there. How does that feel? She said, free. I feel free. And it confirms what my instinct was. I said, I think you got your answer. Yes, she agreed. But now, how does she do it?
Yeah, but now what? Yeah.
Now what?
That's right. Wow, that's beautiful.
So I suggested she write them an email. Writing is so good because you can think ahead and not be derailed by a wrench hurled into the conversation. She agreed. It's hard to tell people important to us how we feel when we've been conditioned not to, especially face to face. But it empowers us to do that. It empowers us to act on behalf of our own lives. It shows us that we have agency in our lives. We're the secret agent in our lives. So she agreed to get some words drafted for her mom and her sister, and she also decided to speak to her brother, who's in full support, to ask him to be a point of reference in the case of fallout, which is really helpful to have. And her fiancé was in full support. In fact, it was the fiancé who told Zoe about FreedHearts. So thank you, fiancé. She said, it was amazing to get this clarity. She said, I feel so fortunate to have a clear picture now of what my next steps will be with my family. Thank you for helping me to stand up for myself and be so brave. Well, I tell you what, I'm so glad for people to find their feet and stand up for themselves. I'm all about people being brave on their own behalf. Only good will come of it, even if it's bumpy for a while. Just consider that unavoidable turbulence as you go in your desired direction.
Oh, that's really good. Now, as I said, there were some follow-up emails, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So she emailed back and said she'd planned to talk to her brother on the way home from work, but then she got a voicemail from Mom. Mom said she decided not to come to the wedding at all. She feels God instituted marriage between a man and a woman, so she feels she can't participate in this wedding. Okay, good to know where she stands. She said she also didn't want to make things awkward. Agreed.
Too late.
Not at the wedding, though.
Right.
And Zoe quickly told her that she'd worked on another email to tell her she didn't need to come. She told her she still plans to send the emails for the sake of her own closure, which is great. I'm really glad she said that.
That's very good.
To her mom. And she told me, I love my mom. So it's difficult to know that she chose God, that really the spiritual indoctrination, over me, even though it's not a surprise. In other news, she said, I do want to send the message to my sister too, but part of the call was to inform me from my mother, was to inform me that my sister has a knot in her breast and she has a biopsy scheduled for today. Obviously, we're hoping it isn't cancer. I don't want to upset my sister, but I honestly think it may be a relief for her to know that she no longer needs to attend the wedding. Trying to figure out a good time to tell her.
Wow.
Okay, now these are some layers of elements now, right? And we need to unpack them. So I said, well, that sounds like a real gift, that this is all in alignment. They don't want to come.
Well, what's the gift that the mom decided or withdrew from the wedding?
Yes. And that that's not going to be a confrontation, but that she still needs to send this. So I said to her, yes, absolutely. It will be good to send what you wrote, closure. And it's also still about you claiming your power, not them just dissing you. You know what I mean? The easiest thing to say is, Well, they decided not to come. Now I'm off the hook to tell them I'd rather they not come after all, which I completely understand. That's the tempting thing to do, is just let it go now. And of course you can do it that way. There's no shame in that. But there's an opportunity here that you might not want to miss out on. And that is for you to advocate for yourself. And so empower yourself. For you to say, I'm glad you decided not to come, because I was going to tell you I'd also rather you not come, because we prefer to have people who are on board 100%. That's an important opportunity for you to find your power, the voice, the power of your voice speaking up for you. It's good for you to hear your voice speak up for you. And then the part about her mom rejecting her. I said, your mom is not choosing God over you, or even indoctrination over you. She's choosing it over her fear of what it would mean if she chose you. Look at how people are terrified of pissing God off because of God's punishment, including hell. I see that on my own sister and so many rules-based Christians. Where did that come from? I mean, bad teaching. But what ground was it planted in that this God of love would turn on us so completely, so terrifyingly? My sister was also very careful not to piss our dad off, our real live dad, lest he fly into a rage. And I have no doubt that is the origin of this fear, the imprint. Now, she would say, oh, God is nothing like our dad, Susan. God is the opposite of our earthly father. Indeed, but that imprint is still there.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's where the imprint of God comes from.
Yeah. And it really helped you to see this, Susan, because when you saw that it wasn't that your sister didn't love you.
Yes.
It was that she was afraid of God.
Yes.
Which is really a remnant of her fear of your father.
Yes, exacerbated in church teaching. That's exactly right. The imprint's there. And instead of healing that, it's just left to form her. That's what her God is now. Yeah. And even though she would never put it in those words, never. And I do not mean to speak for her, but I'm telling you what I see happening. And it's not just her, it's all of us. I believe we all have this early imprint of our all-powerful parent at the bottom of our interpretation of God. We talked about this very early on in the Teaching of Contempt series. How you view God. I forget the session, but or the episode.
How you see God is very close to how you see your father.
Yes. And that our fear of God and our fear of everything else emanates from that. The parent can't even see you through their subconscious imprint of fear. And the church stokes that fear, and it can come just stuck and immovable. So Zoe wrote back and said, it does help to know my mom is choosing the fear of what it would mean to choose me. This has given me new insight into how so many of us were taught to view God and God's principles. Thank you for saying that, because it shifts my perspective on her, but also on me.
Wow.
Yeah. And that's what it's all about. How we view ourselves and God and humanity. When you build all that on a foundation of fear, it's a terribly unstable and dangerous foundation.
Well, what an awful life what an awful thing to do to your life is to build it on a foundation of fear.
Yes. Yes.
Wow.
Okay. Now let's talk about the cancer thing. And I know
with her sister.
Okay. I know, because I've heard from you that many of you have been told that the grandparent or parent or great aunt has some condition, a weak heart, breathing trouble, whatever, and you should not speak up so nothing bad happens to them. Anybody been told that? Because I know you, I get your messages, and you don't want to be responsible for grandma or dad having a heart attack or whatever. Of course you don't, a stroke. Just as Zoe did not want to add strain to her sister who's getting a lump checked for cancer. Of course you don't. You have that precious heart of yours, and God knows you don't want to create a problem. You've been seeking to avoid creating a problem your entire life. Am I right? So let me tell you something. You are not responsible for their health issues. Just hear me out. Whatever they are, you're not. In an unhealthy family, a dysfunctional family, the most vulnerable person, the people in it, learn to shut up and try to keep the drama down. Think of these families as a very small, flat earth, and you're trying to keep things from falling off the edge. But it's not your job. It's the job assigned to people in a dysfunctional family, in gaslighting, in scapegoating. Don't talk about the family secrets. We don't talk about this outside the family. But it's not up to you to keep people from facing real things. And I've said this to many queer people, that the problems now in your family over this, you did not create. You just revealed the underlying dysfunction. That's all. And I say that with no disrespect to people on what are often very difficult journeys. As I said to Zoe, your sister's cancer, possible cancer, she doesn't know yet, is part of the story for her to face. I went through breast cancer about 5 years ago, 6 maybe, so I know the feeling of it. And I had to face so many things in myself to find healing. She's going to reckon with her faith as she hasn't before. What kind of God does she really believe in or know? And this is a piece, one of the pieces of the puzzle to put on the table. Don't protect her because you can't protect her. I know it's your instinct, but you can't do it. This is her reckoning, whatever it looks like for her. And if it's not cancer, great. But either way, it's not your job to protect her from the truth you need to speak. And also, we talked about a transactional God last maybe a couple times ago. That if she's bartering with God right now not to have cancer, and then she's going to flout God by going to a gay wedding. That's part of the narrative.
Something to reckon with, yeah.
And she's going to have to reckon with her own view of God. That's not anything Zoe can do for her or anybody else. So, and maybe it'll be mom's reckoning too, but none of that is Zoe's business. And listening to you, beloveds, you're not responsible for your grandfather's heartburn or grandmother's weak heart or any of that. They're on their own journey and you're on yours. Do what feels right in your gut to do.
And so, I'll stop for a second here because I think you mentioned this just in passing before, but you said that it might even be a relief to her sister who may be struggling. So it could be that, and I'm not saying this is directly related, but it could be the part of the heartburn that grandpa's dealing with is the struggle that you'll release him from by saying what you need to say.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. 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 There are a lot of moving parts. So do what feels right in your gut to do. The week of someone's chemo may not be the best time to tell them that you're marrying that longtime roommate, but don't, being kind and sensitive to where they are is helpful, but don't get pulled into the family secret mentality of not being able to be authentic because people can't take it.
Yeah. You know what? So, I had this situation with my brother who's not listening, so I'm going to say what I want to say, is that, we had a falling out 1980, 81, I guess, but it really hit when my mother died. And before she died, she sold her house and we bought a house, and she lived with us in the final 6 months of her battle with lung cancer, breast cancer. But she never told him. She didn't want to stir up or hurt him in some way.
She sold the house as part of
right. That's
helping
what I mean.
Us get the house.
Yeah, right. So she never told him that she was doing that, the thing with the house, so she could move in with us and live with us, and that she just didn't want to hurt him or stir up any kind of trouble. So all of a sudden the for sale sign appeared in the lawn, and he thought we were like
It looked like you did it.
Yeah, like we were manipulating our sick mother.
Yeah.
And she never cleared that up because she just didn't want to stir up trouble.
Right. So she stirred up all kinds of trouble unwittingly.
And it's been 40 years and we're still estranged. Damn. I know.
He's missed out on all his nieces and nephews.
Yeah, it's the only nieces and nephews he has.
Yeah.
He doesn't have any children.
5 of them and their children.
Yeah. And so anyway,
when things go underground.
Yeah, that's right.
They go underground.
That's right.
But you don't have to be a party to it.
That's right.
So I want to tell you something about the cancer journey. From my experience, you give a lot fewer F's about other people's opinions when you go through it. I mean, it is what it is, and life's too short to live it to someone else. I had to, it's just too short. My cancer journey made me stand up stronger in my work and my life and my self-care. So anyone listening, please take this cancer lesson without the cancer. I had to go gather all my pieces I'd given far and wide and pull them back into me and fully embrace all of me and be me.
And what happened after that is you gave so much more after that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's not like I had to pull in and stop giving. What resulted in that self-care is there's
a natural overflow.
Right. The overflow just exploded in you in love and kindness and affirmation and your work and everything from that.
But it was more healthy and less people pleasing.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And Zoe even said, I thought about not sharing my identity with anyone, a while back and living for others. But she said that made no sense. And I didn't want it for myself or for others who would want to share their identity with me.
Yeah, we've heard that from a lot of people that maybe they just deny who they are for the sake of everyone else.
Yeah, one person who is trans male, but is trying to be a faithful female, it said maybe my best friend and I could marry 2 best friends, like of the wrong gender to their attraction, and have this kind of thing. And I was like, do you think that's in any way going to work? Like they're going to try to make it straight marriage, but they really want to be together. It's like, I don't think that's going to work for you.
That's not what you're here for.
That's not what you're here for, is to convolute your life to please what people are telling you. Just do the thing that we did in the beginning. Picture yourself never telling whatever it is you need to tell, never being who you were here to be. How does that feel to you? Now picture yourself being exactly who you're here to be, who your insides are telling you you're here to be, who you want to be. How does that feel? If you do that, you'll probably have your answer. Like Zoe, be true to your gut. It's a very reliable guide as long as it's from courage and not from fear. If you need to uninvite someone from your wedding or your life, do what you need to do for you. Zoe did do that, by the way. She sent that email to her family. And she said, I can't believe I did it. Thank you. I needed that encouragement to push this through and get it off my mind. And I did. And I'm ready for freedom in my life with my fiance. And I encourage you to let that be permission be for you too. Yeah. Because that's the thing about taking a step like this. It reframes the relationship with the right perspective, that you're not obligated to make them happy. That's a huge thing. It's a huge unlearning from what you were very likely taught. So her mom texted her last night, said thank you for the email and she'd like to talk soon. And she sent Zoe videos of Dr. Rosaria Butterfield, her testimony, and some others, and said, she hopes she'll prayerfully watch the videos and she'd love to hear her thoughts. And I know this is a common way for parents to keep their hands in to try to bring about what they want. And let me tell you right now, you are not obligated to answer any of it. You're not obligated to watch those videos. They may say, well, if you want me to read your stuff, if you want me to listen to that FreedHearts, you'll need to watch this. That's only fair. No, you've already heard that rhetoric. You probably grew up with it. You're wanting to give them something new and they're giving you stuff you already know. You're not obligated. They may love the casserole they just prepared and want you to eat it, but you're not obligated. And anything you offer is a gift to help them, but don't try to do their work for them. Don't make deals to do their work for them. You can't. You can't change their minds any more than they can make you straight. How about that? They're going to have to be on their own path here. And even if you said, okay, I'll watch it, you're still not obligated. And if they bring it up, you can say, I'm not going to watch it after all. It's not new to me, and it won't do any good for either of us. Period. The way Zoe put it was, I'm on a different path when it comes to my faith. I love Jesus, and I love that I have the freedom to think critically and ask questions of God without fear. If anything, I felt closer to God through this process. All this to say, my family is not in that process, and I don't see it as my job to talk in circles around it. That's exactly right. And they may not be able to see that Rosaria Butterfield and Jackie Hill Perry and Preston Sprinkle are harmful in their messages.
Absolutely harmful.
Yes, because they give people false hope for something that is not going to change. Rosario's bio says she was once a leftist professor in a committed lesbian relationship and now a confessional Christian. Okay, a friend of mine, a lesbian, told me at a conference once that she too was a leftist professor in a committed lesbian relationship and a Christian. And she said, I prayed all the prayers Rosaria prayed, and I'm still gay. Rosaria's story is a story. It's not the story. That's true for any of these people and their stories. And, my friend said, I've watched Rosaria speak, and she's very careful what she claims. She doesn't actually claim that she's not gay. Their revelation, quote, revelation, is not your revelation.
Yeah, just to emphasize that point real quick.
Yeah.
She does not claim that she's not gay. She claims that she has chosen to resist her same-sex attractions.
Yes.
And married, and she's going to live an inauthentic life married to a straight man.
Yeah.
And that's not going to...
Right.
What a sad thing that'll be for her and any children.
I mean, she's on her own journey. Well, I'm not...
Yeah.
Whatever she does, but that's not... Yeah. That does not need to be your journey, and that it's held up as the gold standard.
As a success
is criminal.
And if you think about that for a minute, and that's true, by the way, of virtually every one of those quote testimonials.
Yeah.
If you think about that, it's like, look, success. A person is choosing not to live an authentic life.
Right.
What the hell kind of success
exactly
is that?
Right. But if you point to the gay person that shunned all their old teaching, and the guy who married his boyfriend, and now they're happily married and living well, that's not held up.
Right.
That right there is a picture.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay.
All this to say, don't get sidetracked.
Yeah. Dive deep into what's good for you and unwrap yourself from that responsibility to protect those who are not protecting you. This is a red herring from people who want to have their cake and eat it too, have you in their life, but exactly the way they want you. Well, guess what? They don't get to have that. You're not obligated to watch, read, listen to anything you don't want to. You're not obligated to invite over, have dinner with, spend time with anyone you don't want to. Take heart, beloved, all of you beloveds. You get to choose your path to life and freedom. And also do whatever you need to do in your own timing. You don't have to rush into anything here. But also, there's probably not going to be a perfect time to do it either. So kind of, if possible, the sooner the better.
Yeah.
Just so you can move forward. Don't linger with the bad juju in the air of this unresolved stuff. Just get her done. And then the weight is off your shoulders. And then, as our little grandbaby loves to say, you can go. Yeah. So if you're in a relationship, a good relationship that nurtures you, congratulations. If you just got married, as our friends did, just before whatever happens next, congratulations. If you broke up with someone that was not healthy for you, congratulations. If you've dealt with your family in a positive way for you, whatever that means, Congratulations. If anything has happened in your life that you would like to hear congratulations for, congratulations.
Yeah, we mean that.
We mean that.
Yeah.
So protect your beautiful heart, protect your beautiful relationship, if there is one, and protect your beautiful singleness, if that's it. And be at peace that we are in this together and we're all loving each other here and wrapping us all up in a virtual hug. You literally bring tears to my eyes. I mean that. When you tell your stories, when you send your photos of you with your life partners, it moves me. I have literal goosebumps right now just thinking about you and just telling you that you're out there doing your thing, being your best self, living your best life. Cheers to you. Cheers. And you are magnificent. Magnificent. We love you. We love you. We love you. Bye.
Would it be okay if I were to tell you that I am afraid someday? So I call you up and you call me down. Would it be okay?
You've been listening to the FreedHearts podcast. We have extensive resources and vibrant, inclusive community for you at freedhearts.org. Please just come say hello. If you have questions, comments, or suggestions for the podcast, just email us at podcast@freedhearts.org. Audio engineering is provided by Luke Johnson. The music is provided by our daughter, Hannah Cottrell, who is Grammy nominated. You can find out more about her and her music at hannahcottrell.com. Please share, subscribe and follow on your favorite platform, and support us if you can. Thanks for listening.